A reminder coming up at halftime, the NFL Today with Brent Musburger and Herb Cross. We have 2 minutes left to go to the half. The Giants are leading the 49ers 17-3. And the riddle of the 49ers continues.
Well, you know, this isn't something that just came up yesterday. For the last 15 to 20 years, I've been watching the 49ers and wondering, it seemed like they put the necessary ingredients together to be a winning team, but something always comes up.
Well, we'll see what comes up now in Plunkett's bag of tricks. He had been to the sideline. And he's going deep downfield at Gene Washington, intercepted by Brian Kelly. And Kelly is at the 30. To the 35, and will be tackled at the 40-yard line by Wilbur Jackson.
Gracious me, the pass was so poorly thrown. I can't believe the depth that Brian Kelly got. He must have been 30 yards downfield. A linebacker getting that much depth.
Wouldn't you know, the first pass to Gene Washington is an interception.
And look at this. Washington does have room to make the reception there, but the pass is underthrown. Look how deep he is. Now that's 30 yards. Gracious, what kind of coverage do you have when Brian Kelly can get that deep? Somebody hurry and tackle me. I'm tired of running.
That's just what I had the same thought. Where is somebody? Anybody? So the Giants have had a block punt, a recovered fumble, and an interception. The 49ers have just turned it over and over and over again. And it's 17-3 New York. First and 10 on their own 40-yard line. Spencer is in there with Hammond. Moorhead in motion to join Robinson on the right side. Here comes Hammond, and he gets out to the 45. You know, I don't have an axe to grind with any of the teams in the NFL. Second and 6 from the 45. Hammond, and he has his legs cut out from under him by Ralph McGill, number 49. But to go back to San Francisco last year, when they were 6-1, they really didn't beat any contending ball clubs.
That's true.
When they got into the tough teams, that's when they became 2-5. So they really didn't prove anything. I think their 8-6 record was suspect.
Yeah, I believe it was a little misleading. But
they beat Minnesota near the end of the year after Minnesota had won its divisional title. So there are a lot of cracks in that 49er thing besides that nice number, 8-6.
Brand X is what we just call them. They're just a mystery team and always have been to me.
3rd and 5 from the 45. Pisarcik to the side, and in a crowd he throws to Hammond. He was hit by McGill, dropped the ball after the whistle.
That Ralph McGill's a football player, brother. Make no mistake of that. A good tackler and a good coverage man back there. Used to be a pretty good punt returner, too.
Well, the punt return is in order right now for the 49ers. Anthony Leonard comes out onto the field, that is to say. And Dave Jennings will punt from about his own 30-yard line. And Anthony Leonard goes deep. Jennings under a rush, but he got it away. And did he ever? Over the head of Anthony Leonard. And the Giants can down it inside the 10, down at the 5-yard line.
They can't get anything going for them. The 49ers just one bad break after the other. And once again, no field position whatsoever.
So with 12 seconds left, Jim Plunkett comes in. All he has to do is go 95 yards in 12 seconds, and he's down by 14 points. It has been a most discouraging half for the 49ers. A marvelous first half for the New York Giants.
And did the Giants need it, too? The last 3 weeks have been very dismal weeks here in New Jersey and New York, however you want to refer to it.
You know, the Giants have allowed 13 touchdowns. That's the most this year, and they've held the 49ers to 3 points for the half. Delvin Williams, dragged by Troy Archer and finally nailed by Jack Gregory and Emmett Kelly. But it was 77 Troy Archer who slowed him up back on the 2-yard line.
John McVay, I know he's happy.
John McVay, 46 years old, having a marvelous time. He replaced Bill Arnsparger October the 25th of last year. After the Giants went 0-7. His record going into this is 3-4, and if the Giants beat the 49ers, he will finally get to the 500 mark as their head coach. Of course, you knew him back in the WFL.
I certainly did. He was coach of the South, and they had a fine football team, and they really did.
Halftime in New York. Giants 17, San Francisco 3.
Wherever you may roam, you'll find our name is known. You can trust a Delco.
Thanks, Delco.
Delco free. things are getting thick and you want to start real quick,
You can trust the Delco.
Delco.
Delco Freedom Battery.
They've got the stuff when the starting's tough.
You can trust the Delco.
Thanks, Delco.
Delco Freedom Battery. Delco Freedom.
Thanks, Delco. Schlitz Light.
Schlitz Light beer has a third fewer calories than our other fine beer, and all the taste beer drinkers expect from Schlitz.
Why does he drink that? It is his beer. It's the only light beer with gusto.
Schlitz Light.
Beer drinkers know it took Schlitz to bring the taste to light.
Who is the #1 investment firm in the East? Who is the #1 investment firm in the Midwest? Who is the #1 investment firm in the South? Who is the #1 investment firm in the West? You know who. Merrill Lynch. All around America, more investors turn to Merrill Lynch than any other investment firm. Sure, there are lots of investment firms, but there's only one Merrill Lynch.
In 7 years of All in the Family, you've never seen an hour-long story like this.
You know, you smell wonderful.
Oh, that's lemon pledge.
He should be here at 6 o'clock. See, that's just a couple of...
Edith's 50th birthday party sets the stage for comedy and astonishing drama on a 1-hour special of All in the Family, Sunday at 9, 8 Central and Mountain.
Next Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, CBS Sports Spectacular presents a boxing triple-header with gold medalist Leon Spinks taking on Scott Ledoux in a heavyweight contest. Gold medalist Michael Spinks goes against the Canadian champion Gary Summerhays in a light heavyweight matchup. 10th-ranked heavyweight Bernardo Machado tangles with Greg Johnson. And the world's strongest men competition features the wheelbarrow race. That's next Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay, the Monday night game, Pittsburgh hosts Cincinnati, and a lot of question about Terry Bradshaw. Against Houston last Sunday, in the Oilers' upset, Bradshaw broke his left wrist. He is wearing a half-hard cast. We checked with Pittsburgh coach Chuck Noll this morning, and here is the exact status. He has been practicing with the Steelers. Chuck thinks that he will be able to play against Cincinnati. The problem is not one of throwing the ball or anything like that. It's taking the snap from the center. There is constant pain. The Steelers experimented with having the center slow up the snap, but that threw off the timing of the offense. So if Bradshaw starts, he will go as far and as long as he can against Cincinnati. And Irv, meanwhile, Ed Garvey called you.
That's right. He called me on another pain, Ken Payne, a wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers, who was suspended, and there was a lot of controversy and discussion about it. Apparently what happened is simply this. The Green Bay Packers agreed to settle with the Players Association and reimburse Kenny Payne his $1,000, which he was fined when he was suspended from the ball club, and they also agreed to pay him for today's game, even though he's not playing. And they put him on no recall waivers, and he'll become a free agent in just a few hours.
All right, Irv, let's check in on Jimmy the Greek's favorite football team this year, the Atlanta Falcons. How they doing against the Buffalo Bills? Scoreless in the second quarter. The Greeks got to get that offense going. Green Bay and Detroit right now in the second quarter. Each team has kicked a field goal. The Packers were on the board first. It is now tied 3-3. St. Louis leads Philadelphia by a score of 14-3 in that game. The Eagles had kicked the field goal. The Cardinal offense looks good. And yes, Jim Hart is playing quarterback for the Cardinals. San Francisco and the New York Giants. San Francisco is totally inept in all phases of the game today. You've been watching the Giants. They lead at the half 17-3. Now it is Baltimore and Kansas City. 14-6. The score there was John Brockington's touchdown for the Chiefs. He just got in. They missed the extra point. It is 14-6 in the second quarter. Now, Chicago and Minnesota are just underway. They are scoreless. That game is in the first quarter, and of course the score there is reflected in the fact that Bob Avellini has done such a good job for the Bears coming off that Monday night upset, so they are scoreless just underway. Now, Dottie Pastorini is not at quarterback today. Doesn't make any difference. They just got a touchdown and an extra point. They lead it by a score of 7-0. Let's turn our attention now towards some highlights. Check around the league, get you up to date on all the big plays. Let's start now with Green Bay and Detroit. That'll be our first package of highlights here. Now, King, For the Lions, fumbles Dave Purifoy, recovers for Green Bay, and the Packers kicked a field goal that put them ahead by a score of 3-0, and of course, as I told you, 3-3. Irv, what's next?
All right, I have the Philadelphia Eagles and St. Louis Cardinals. They're still going in the second quarter, late in the second quarter, Brent, but the Cardinals lead by a score of 14-3 down at Veterans Stadium. And right here in the second quarter, 2nd and 8 on the Philadelphia 38-yard line, Hart faces the ladder and throws the ball out, the screen pass from number 84, Ike Harris, who rambles along the sideline all the way for a touchdown. St. Louis took a 7-3 lead. The Cardinals came back again in the second quarter, this time handing the ball off to Terry Metcalf, goes in, and the Cardinals are leading late in the half, 14-3.
Irv, I have to think a little bit about Monty Clark as I take a look at this next set of highlights. The San Francisco 49ers and the New York Giants. Would you believe how inept San Francisco has been all season? I'm not trying to take anything away from the Giants, but what has happened to the Niners? Brian Kelly with a recovery. Pisarcik, touchdown pass now to Shirk. So long, Bob Tucker, huh? 10-3 after the field goal by the Giants. Now look at this. The Niners can't even get off a punt. Here comes Jones. 2 plays later, Spencer will dive over the top for the touchdown. 17-3 after the extra point. Now Plunkett wants to throw the ball to Gene Washington. Hey, Kelly's having a great day. Got back on this, and it is 17-3 at the half, and with Joe Thomas in charge of the San Francisco 49ers, you got to wonder what might happen to that franchise in the days ahead. Boy, what turmoil surrounding the 49ers. The NFL Today will continue on CBS right after these messages from your local stations.
How far should an advertising girl go to get an account? Watch the new comedy On Our Own tonight following Rhoda on CBS.
During the 17 years of their existence, the Dallas Cowboys have had only one head coach, Tom Landry. He started out in 1960 with a ragtag expansion team which went the entire year without a victory. But right from the start, Landry knew he was going to build a mountain, as sung by Sammy Davis Jr.
Gonna build a mountain from a little hill. Gonna build me a mountain, at least I hope I will. Gonna build a mountain, gonna build it high. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, I only know I'm gonna try. Gonna build me a daydream from a little hope. Gonna push that daydream up the mountain slope. Gonna build a daydream, gonna see it through. Gonna build a mountain and a daydream, gonna make them both come true. Gonna build a heaven from a little hell. Gonna build me a heaven, and I know darn well, if I build my mountain with a lot of care and take my daydream up the mountain, then heaven will be waiting there. When I build that heaven, as I will someday, and the Lord sends Gabriel to take me away, what a fine young son to take my place. I'll leave a son in my heaven on earth with the good Lord's grace. With a fine young son to take my place. I'll leave a son in my heaven on earth with the good Lord's grace. Gonna build me a mountain.
Halftime in New Jersey, and the Giants are leading San Francisco 17-3. Alex, I don't know if I told you this or not. When I was leaving Los Angeles on Friday, I bought a San Francisco paper to read, maybe to get a little insight into the 49ers. In the game story, the writer was talking about this upcoming game, and he said the 49ers against the rotten team they're playing this weekend. I'd never seen that in public print before, this rotten team.
It's a little bit severe and a little tacky, but, you know, it pretty well describes it. They have played just poorly.
And now, this rotten team is the way that writer felt the New York Giants were, and he's sitting upstairs wondering about how to rephrase it because the rotten team is leading the 49ers 17-3.
Well, a case in point is that the 49ers are not making the big plays. In fact, they're giving every opportunity for the